Next show, maybe a good show. We haven't talked about it yet. We're talking about Andor.
It's Star Wars good again, George.
We'll see. Andor sees.
Spoilers from a show from 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Because we didn't watch it.
Okay. This is just a quick recap from ChatGPT because I don't feel like looking up the full synopsis for the entire season. Andor Season 1 is a gritty, slow-burn spy thriller set in the Star Wars universe, diving deep into the birth of the rebellion through the eyes of Cassian Andor. Long before Rogue One, it's not your usual force-heavy Star Wars. This is about espionage, oppression, resistance, and personal transformation. The bigger picture, the rebellion awakens. Luthen Rael, a shadowy figure behind every early rebel cells, sees Cassian as a key asset. We see the rebellion in its early fractured stages. Idealists, spies, and outlaws trying to organize under the Empire's nose. The show pulls back the curtains on Coruscant politics, introducing Mon Mothma as she risks everything to fund the insurgency. Key arc and highlights: the Aldani heist, a high-stakes mission with rebel operatives that shows the cost of revolution. Narcana 5, Cassian's imprisonment arc, where we meet Kinoloy and see the brutal machinery of the Empire's labor camps. The Ferrix uprising, an emotional rebellion finale to the show. To show that shows community uprising, symbolizing the spark of the rebellion. Their final thoughts: Andor Season 1 is a slow burn that rewards patience with layered storytelling, world building, and character arcs that set the foundation for the Rebel Alliance. If you want more, if you want the most adult, political, and emotional grounded Star Wars series to date, this is it, according to ChatGPT.
I kind of agree with that sentiment.
I kind of agreed with it. Now, we kind of talked a little bit about this last week. I did not remember character names from Rogue One because that movie was fine. That is a solid movie. I don't ever care to watch it. It's not on my top lineup, but it is a solid movie. It was a good setup for what happens between 3 and 4. Okay. So starting the show, I forgot the fact that Cassian Andor is in that altogether. At that point, since I did not know that, and I did not know the stakes behind Andor, besides the fact we knew he had to survive to get to season 2, it was a fun show to watch for me. However, about halfway through the season is when I realized that I recognized the name enough and I recognized the character, and then I recognized the fact he was in Rogue One. And at that point, it became, okay, nothing bad can happen to our character.
Yeah.
And so that kind of killed the hype for me. I think season 1, season 2 should have come out before Rogue One. Because I think that would have...
hindsight, though.
It is a lot of hindsight at this point. It's also just bad timeline planning, though, by Lucasfilms.
Yeah.
I will call it out where I call it out. The first arc, to me, is the best arc in the show.
I think it's pretty good.
So the first arc is the setup arc to go and the stealing of the funds from the Imperials. To me, even though the scenes of the episodes that are mostly just talking and prepping, it still feels continuous moving. And yes, it's a slower show, and I think that's kind of what hurt it the first time around. But
how was it released the first time around as well? Was it 3-episode batches as well?
I don't think so.
The first 3 episodes were.
The first 3 episodes were, and then every episode after that was 1 week at a time.
Oh my god! Imagine watching that show over 2 months.
That probably is what hurt it.
Yeah.
Sorry, what I was trying to figure out was if Andor showed up on Nielsen. So it did appear on Nielsen's reports ratings. The show showed a decline in viewership over time, and the number of minutes streamed decreasing each week. While Nielsen's data can provide insights into the streaming viewership, it's important to note Disney Plus and other streaming services also collect their own data. Additionally, Nielsen can be influenced by factors like the show's release date and competition from other shows. Somebody did up a chart. This was a year ago. The Nielsen viewership.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go ahead. Boom. So this is minutes watched.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So Mando season 2, episode 1 had 10,032 million minutes. Boba Fett 389. Kenobi episode 1 and 2, because they dropped together, was 1,026 million. Andor episode 1, 2, and 3 was only at 624. Mando season 3, 823. Ahsoka 829. Its drop off wasn't actually bad. It actually stayed pretty consistent. Lower. It just was lower. It had a smaller, in general, audience. I mean, Mando season 3, the last 3 episodes picked up.
Yeah,
but I believe those were the episodes with Luke, wasn't it?
No, that was season 1. Oh no, season 2. That was season 2.
Yeah, that's those episodes there. That makes sense. Episode 9 though did not qualify. Episode 9, what is that episode?
Well, released on November 2nd.
Nobody's listening. Under intense scrutiny while in prison, Cassian makes allies the planet. It's one of the prison arc episodes.
Yeah.
Which was slow. Like I think those episodes were stretched way too much.
I can see why you think that. And I agree. But like, I'm gonna get into it now. This show is some of, if not the best, world building we've ever had in the Star Wars universe.
100% agree.
Because like, it shows us an Imperial prison.
Yeah.
And we've never seen that before. All we've seen is like a brig on like a Star Destroyer or the Death Star. It shows us an Imperial prison or a labor camp and like the inner workings of it and how corrupt it is and how wrong it is. Like they made a mistake and transferred a prisoner from one floor to another when they were supposed to be released. So they killed everybody on the floor. That's crazy to me.
Well, okay. I'm gonna counter you there a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I know they say in the show they made a mistake. I don't think they did. I think the mistake was that it was heard that he came from a different floor.
Yeah, probably.
I think it's supposed to be that, because that's why the doctor makes it clear that nobody leaves here.
My understanding was that they get transferred to a different prison at the end of their thing.
And see, I get where you're coming from with that, but spoiler alert for a show that came out 2 years ago. We find out that what they're working on building are actually the joints for the Death Star, which means no matter what happens, none of those guys would leave.
Yeah.
They just can't, because the Empire has to build this Death Star one way or another. So I think that's why the line with the doctor is so important, where he says that nobody leaves here alive, because he's making it clear to them that he knows for a fact, because he's been to the other floors, that nobody gets to leave.
Yeah. Okay.
I do think it's interesting that we get to watch them build parts of the Death Star. It also confuses me why they're building parts of the Death Star. Like, I get the Death Star has to be built and the thing's massive and hard. It's odd to me that a crucial joint is able to be built by 6 guys in a prison.
I mean, it's kind of how our government works.
Well, no, but we're talking the Star Wars universe. I figured this would be something that would have been being built in place by droids. Like the rest, because legitimately the droids are just putting it into place.
It's the manufacturing of it.
It's weird to me. I might be more nitpicking that, but to me it's weird.
I think you are.
Because I've always seen in my mind, whenever I go back to those original movies of seeing them and watch it, I always saw the Empire as the very much more technologically advanced group because that's how they're always portrayed. And so to me, the Death Star, the reason they could build the second one so fast is because it's not humans building it. They're just deploying thousands and thousands of droids to do it. Because to me, that's the only way realistically it makes sense to have a second Death Star being built so fast.
Yeah.
Because I really doubt that Palpatine's like, we built this space station. We're not sure if it works. But what about second space station? We don't know if it works. Like the first space station being blown up, that's like that makes, because we've already gotten at that point the test of Andor, so we know it does work. Not Andor, but Alderaan, so we know it does work. So the second one's being built. To me, it never would wouldn't make sense that it would be like prison workers building it. Make sense?
I get what you're saying.
Okay. I do, don't get me wrong, I do like the arc. I think they spent too long in the arc.
It feels a little fillery.
Mm-hmm. I think we have one too many episodes for the prison.
Yeah.
I think if you cut one episode out and looking at where this says it was, episode 9 would have been the second to last episode of it. Episode 10 is the breakout. Because we only have 2 episodes after that for the escape.
No, No, I actually disagree. Because episode 8 is where he gets imprisoned, right?
Okay.
And then 10 is the breakout episode. So 9 is him collecting intel and figuring out a plan. And it's showing you more of the inner workings of the prison.
Correct. I'm not disagreeing with you on that. But at the same time, it feels like a filler episode in the middle of this.
Yeah.
I think the prison arc could have been done in two episodes.
And like I have that same sentiment. It's just I really like what they do world building wise there.
No. Again, you and I are in the same boat, but I have to again bring up, like, when we're looking at the numbers, episode 9 did not qualify.
Yeah.
Meaning it was out of the show. I mean, they're estimating 400 million is still what they're estimating. But if it did not qualify, either that means everything else was more important to watch that week, or it did not get the 400 million and did not chart because it did not do well enough. Because the week before it charted at 385, and the week after it charted at 420. That means I don't see why this would have charted at 400, or not charted at 400. Make sense?
Yeah.
Because I mean, we have all the way down to 356 that it still was charting at. 674 charts out for the finale, which is better than the start, which is where it realistically should have. It means that people were coming back to watch it. But I think legitimately people were just like probably hearing that there really wasn't much to the episode and probably just backed off it. Whatever I can find real quick. Let's see.
This could be completely unrelated, but
Rotten Tomatoes.
This might be what it is. if I'm reading this correctly, it's
Yep.
also the day that North Korea fired 23 ballistic missiles into the Sea of Japan. It might be completely unrelated, but
Okay. I'm going to say yes and no.
okay.
It is related in the aspect that there would have been more people watching the news to find out what's going on in the world. But that's me. That would not block on the streaming side of Nielsen.
Yeah.
That wouldn't have blocked it. And even if it had bumped it down 1 or 2, it still would have placed somewhere in the top, 10. Nielsen's always top 10. That for whatever reason, that 1 week dropped off and didn't even list on the top 10. It may not have ever been super high. I'm not saying it was.
I'm just trying to look up why it wouldn't be. Why it wouldn't qualify.
That's what I'm trying to find. Did you do it? You did it. Thank you. Okay. So we're gonna go into you.
How do you spell Nielsen?
Nielsen is Nielsen.
Okay. How would I find something like this?
It's you gotta go back and forth searching different things. So I like this one. I could have searched directly to Nielsen's report for that episode, the season of Andor.
Okay.
And then I found people that had talked about it and brought it up. Yeah, I mean, even review wise, that episode rated very, very high.
Yeah. Oh, this was releasing at the same time as She-Hulk. Hold on, does it not qualify because that's when She-Hulk released?
If so, it means that it was sitting at the bottom of the charts, which is possible. It could have been them.
No.
I don't even know if She-Hulk made it to Nielsen. Also, just so you know, I don't believe it ever did, but I could be wrong on that. It depends on what all was going on.
It did.
Did it?
Yep.
It did not.
I'm seeing here it did. So
coming from a game ran straightforward. Nielsen's numbers can definitely rule out that She-Hulk got at least 395 million worth of viewership as the last show. Oh, maybe this was 6 weeks in. So it fell off early then, at least. In short, Nielsen's numbers can definitely rule out that She-Hulk got at least 395 million minutes worth of viewership, as the last show on the top 10 list was Netflix's Instant Dream Home with the exact total. As usual, Nielsen's top ranking shows are mostly Netflix exclusives, with The Sandman, Stranger Things, Never Have I Ever, and Lock and Key towering the competition. Meanwhile, Amazon's Prime Video's reimagined a League of Their Own series, and Hulu's Only Murders in the Buildings prevent absolute control. And then it has the actual chart of that week, and it is not there.
oh, it says DNQ because it fell out of the top 10.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Is it fell out that week, so for whatever reason, it was not being watched as much, unless again it got 400 million and everything else just did well. But then that doesn't make sense why the next week would have bounced back in at 420.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. I found it.
What?
I might have. Oh, you have to look at it by week.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to go in like a Wayback Machine for this thing, huh?
I believe they are all categorized to the Wayback Machine. So yes, that's why I went ahead and I pulled from Game Rand, where they had the week of She-Hulk's release, everything coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Because they saved that information back because they were doing it in real time. We're retrospect going back and looking at all this.
Yeah. Because this is all TV. I have to add in streaming, I'm going to be a little bit angry. Yeah, I'm going to have to add in streaming.
What?
I'm trying to search this up. This is all TV ratings and not streaming.
I mean, this is a Reddit post from 3 years ago. Everybody's talking about how brilliant the show has been, but how slow this episode was and how they're not recommending people watch it. A lot of people are in the same agreement that they feel like this episode was either a filler or is starting to drag.
Yeah.
Somebody came back and re-commented back to it after the next week, which is the breakout, that this episode was great compared to last week. Last week's episode should not exist. And it got about 40,000 upvotes and 2,000 downvotes. So that was kind of at least the Star Wars Reddit group community's take on it. So I think that's what the problem with that episode is.
Is that it was just a slower episode?
Not that it was a slower episode, but it feels like a filler episode, like you and I just agreed.
Yeah.
And it feels like it could be cut. And I think it could. I think if that episode was cut and maybe we take out some of the extra little side scenes that are in that episode, you could still fill the rest of that world building of that episode for the prison into the episode before and after it, and it'd be fine. So, I really do like, though, the rebellion at the end of the season. I kind of like how that all worked out together. How like that felt like very generic. Well, not generic, but a very authentic.
Yeah,
it felt like something that would have actually happened. The writing of this show is very, very good. The dialogue feels real.
Yeah.
There are a couple times where I think Cassian has some of the worst writing in the show, which is kind of sad.
He does really well with his performance, though.
He does. No. I'm not criticizing the actor in this case. I'm criticizing the writers. I think the writers wrote for him some really piss poor writing. I think the actor did a fantastic job, and he makes it that you take a character that I don't know if we're supposed to like, but he makes you like him. Your overall thoughts of the season?
I think the action scenes are phenomenal.
Agreed.
And you and I have been chatting intermittently while we're watching it. And I brought this up to my coworkers as well. That like specifically, I think it's let me see what episode it is. It's episode 3, where he meets with I don't remember his name. The rebellion guy.
Okay.
In the warehouse, and they send that hit squad to Ferrix. And like it's specifically the set of scenes when they leave the warehouse and they're now like playing cat and mouse through the streets, sort of, where they think that he's in one place and he's not, he's in another, and then they call it out and they send the speeder. Specifically, the way that is all written made me fall in love with this world again.
Yeah.
In a way that I haven't felt in a long time.
Though I will say this, it makes the Empire look like a bunch of...
These aren't the Empires. This is not the
Empire.
No,
but this is supposed to be the security department of the Empire.
There's some bums that got some blasters, and they're like, we're going to save the Empire. No, because these guys are not the Empire.
They look like a bunch of clowns.
Because they are!
I'm like, what is going on with this? Let me see. Davos Goldham. That is the Imperial officer who ends up having to go work for, who ends up getting fired because
The
of
scrawny one?
The scrawny one.
Okay.
I love his portrayal. I love
he's really good.
Richard Dillon. I pulled up the cast list.
Okay.
Like, I'm sitting there every time I see this character, I'm like, I absolutely cannot stand you, and thank you for that.
Who was Richard? Who did he play? Oh no.
That the little scrawny like officer.
Okay, and then who was the other name you mentioned?
I did his character name.
I'm lagging here. I'm doing the best I got. Okay.
His character name is Davo. His name is Richard.
Okay, thank you. I was lagging. Thank you.
Apparently, I think he did a phenomenal job of making me hate him, which is a weird way to say, give him praise.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, I cannot stand you as a character, but you are so good as the character.
Yes. What I liked about it was that there was like a certain vulnerability to his character where like he was willing to take these big moves, but then once he's on the other side of the barrel, he like shuts down. Do you know what I mean? Like he's willing to lead this hit squad in, but then like as soon as he's taken hostage by them in that gunfight, he shuts down entirely. And like when he fails at the end, he's just emotionally and physically just blank. And I think that's really
such
special.
Good. It's such good like facial storytelling.
Yes.
That's not what we are doing there.
Are you okay?
Yes, I'm trying to make it easier for you.
Okay. I knew who you were talking about.
Well, no, yes. I did not realize until watching the show, though, how many big names are actually in the show.
There's a lot of big names.
Because like Stellan Skarsgård, like I butchered your last name. I'm so sorry. Like he was in Mamma Mia, and Mamma Mia 2.
Okay.
What?
Okay.
Well, like that. Those were actually pretty big and pretty successful movies.
Uh-huh.
I think he did great in that role as the like rebellion manipulator.
Yes.
Is that a good way to word it?
I would say he's like the spark that like the gas that Mon Mothma's been setting ignites.
Yeah. Where is she?
I'm
looking for not Mon Mothma, the girl from Intelligence.
Oh, the Imperial. Oh, she's probably at the top then.
I thought so. Is she Val? She's not Val.
No.
Maybe she's Val.
I think she's Elizabeth. Kyla? Or Deirdre?
No,
not her.
It's not her.
Denise. Yeah, her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love this character.
Her performance is amazing as well.
Her performance is fantastic.
Who directed this show? Who directed you?
And did you return to season 2?
Please.
The director of Star Wars series Andor, Toby Haynes, Susan White, Benjamin Korn, Ariel Kalman. Yes, sure. Season 2 did not have all the same directors back.
Rats.
1, 2. So 3 of the 6 of them or 7 of them returned. Huh.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Oh no, what I'm reading, we might not have all the details yet because it's not out yet. What I'm reading is it's 2 directors did season 2. No.
See that the last one was saying 3 directors did it because these were the first 6. These are the 6 directors that did for season 1. We know, according to what that was saying, was Ariel Kleinman, who did 6 episodes, returned.
But see, he didn't do anything from season 1 is what I'm reading here.
Who?
Ariel.
Okay. This IMDb, this is season 1.
Where are you looking? Uh-huh. Scroll down. Click on that. Click on 6 episodes. Season 2.
Oh.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so it's weirdly listed then. Okay, so let's just do it this way then. So you were just Toby Haynes was just season 1. Ariel season 2.
Yeah, no, none of the directors returned.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That does not give me very good confidence. Tony Gilroy, you wrote for
But
only
they also have I will point this out as well. For season 1, I assume we're going to get a similar structure for season 2. Each 3-episode arc has a different director and writer.
Well, I mean, Tony Gilroy is listed as credited on creator and writer for all of it.
Because he was, I assume he was.
George Lucas is just based on Dan Gilroy, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Oh no, we'll find out tonight when we start watching.
Yeah, but that also makes me then see where the parts of like season 1 where I felt like not necessarily every episode connected.
Yeah.
That shows me why it feels like every episode does not necessarily connect. Like they obviously keep elements of like his money was here, and so he has his money, but then he needs to be arrested, so the money gets left there. But he still needs the money for later on, so he's gonna get the money back. Like there's a couple bits in that part that I was like, Anywho, not this is gonna be weird. Your score. I'm trying to think how did what
season score.
Yes, but then we're going to be a little bit more biased on it because it's the overall season, opposed to where we've been on every other. We've been more realistic to it.
I'm gonna be real. 4.5.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I don't know if I can meet you up there. This has been my problem since I finished watching it. I've been trying to figure out this number, and I've been trying to do the math. That really in my head is what I'm trying to do. Give me a second. I need the Andor season 1 episode list. All right. And then I need over here. I need this guy. Casa, that's the introduction to the world. I felt was a little slow, but it was still interesting. I'd go to 4. That would be me. This is kind of continuing around. Probably a 3. It's solid. Reckoning for Aldani. This is the introduction to that. It was a 4. The Axe Forgets 3. The Eye 5. Announcement 3. 4 for Narcana. 2 for Nobody's Listening. 4 One Way Out. And 5 and 5 for Daughter and Riggs. Sorry, I'm too much of a numbers person. I had to look back at it. Okay, so before I did this, the number that was sitting in my head was a 3. Okay.
Okay.
Me quickly doing that, I came to a 3.8.
Okay. So 4.
I'm gonna sit at a 3.5 to 4, right in that space. It's solid. It's not bad, but it's not great. It's solid. I think that's what the problem the first season had in the Nielsen numbers was. It wasn't the big wow show to get everybody to come watch it, but it was a good show for those who sat down and enjoyed it. Like if you're a Star Wars fan, this is a Star Wars show. This is a good Star Wars show. But if you aren't super into Star Wars, this is not the show for you, which is unfortunate. Yeah. So I feel better because that was my thing. Was I'm like, as a Star Wars fan head, I'm probably at a 4.5 because the world building is fantastic. There is a lot going on with it, but the criticalism of it is where I always pull myself back at.
Yeah.
So a 3.8. I'll give it a 4. I'll round it to a 4. You were at a what? I'm sorry.
4.5. Which puts us at 8.5.
8.5 out of 10. Not as good as Daredevil, which I would concur. It's not as good as Daredevil.
No, I wouldn't say so. It's still really good.
It's still really good. I'm concerned about how season 2 is going to go. Because again, the show was canceled, but I think it was contract fights is why it came back.
It was contracted for 2 seasons.
And so I think that's what it was there was enough between the actors and the creator fighting back that it was either spend a lot of money and pay them all out or spend a lot of money and make the show.
Yeah.
I think they decided lean on the show. I don't see it going past season 2.
Well, this was confirmed to be the final season.
Okay. I hadn't read that. Again, sometimes shows just get greenlit for 2 seasons or 3 seasons and then see how it goes from there. So that means we know where we have to end up at. We have to end up at being set up for Rogue One.
Yes.
Predictions, guesstimates, thoughts, concerns of what's going to happen this season.
I have only seen one clip.
That's more.
I'm going in basically blind.
Okay.
I'm excited because the
so
clip
no
I
prediction
saw makes it look like the show has a bigger budget than the first season. Does that make sense?
It does. Andor budget. Shoo. Okay. 2 seasons in Disney Plus Andor series has a total production cost of over $645 million. The second season alone was about 290 of it.
So it's actually a lower budget then.
It is a smaller budget, is what that is estimate.
But everything I'm seeing, because I've seen one clip and then a snippet from one of the trailers just now while we were looking at it. Everything I'm looking at makes it look like it has a bigger budget. And a lot of a lot of I don't know. Go ahead. Sorry.
According again, this is AI quickly pulling numbers, so I don't have to fully research into it. Season 1, not explicitly stated, the report suggests it was a budget around 250 million, with season 2 costing 290 million, but both seasons 645 million. So the math doesn't math.
Yeah.
There might be other that may be considering in also property taxes and marketing in there is what that
yes.
might,
Okay.
that's not
even
yet.
Because this season isn't being marketed as hard as the first season was.
Correct. So this season production cost looks like it was about about almost $41 million more than the first season was.
Okay.
These shows are too stupidly priced, Disney. You cannot have $300 million for a show is ridiculous.
That's over 12 episodes, though.
Okay.
12 1-hour episodes.
That's still $25 million an episode.
Yeah.
What? How much did they say that was per episode?
25.
It's more than double the cost of Grey's Anatomy per episode.
Grey's Anatomy uses the same sets over and over again. They don't have to build a new set.
No. I agree. However, Grey's Anatomy has been around forever, and their actors have been on the show forever, which means they probably
also
paid better.
Use like no CGI for Grey's Anatomy. They use CGI once a season, basically.
Correct. I'm just saying a regular running TV show, which is what Andor is supposed to be, and it's running twice the budget.
I don't think Grey's Anatomy is a good comparison.
I'm just trying to figure out what other show I can look up. It's 10 million more than Daredevil Born Again episode were.
Okay, I'll give you that.
I mean, it's episodes. It's not even. I'm not even going to criticize just Andor on it. This is the problem we've been seeing with Star Wars TV shows. Look at the ungodly cost of the Acolyte. Remember, the cost of the Acolyte was pretty much 12 Godzilla movies of the most recent one.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I think it's. I don't think you should compare it to Godzilla -1 because that is such an anomaly in filmmaking that you should never bring it up ever again. Because I don't know how that man was able to make a Godzilla movie that cheap and it'd be that phenomenal.
But that's the kind of people they need to be finding for a television show is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
Somebody who doesn't just blow cash left and right because they can. Let's see, budget per episode. The Acolyte was cheaper per episode than Andor season 2.
Well, yeah, because one of them was actually successful than the other one.
But still, I don't know. To me,
you're also looking at what, a 6-8 episode show comparatively to a 12.
Yeah.
Or are you breaking it down per episode?
I'm looking only per episode. When we're talking these numbers, I'm looking per episode.
Okay.
Because I said, or wait, hold on. Maybe I'll look at. How much did I say per episode again?
It was 25.
Okay, sorry. And Ahsoka was Acolyte was 3.7 million more per episode.
Okay.
At that point, we're talking change when we're talking, $30 million. But
yep.
And even people when they're talking of the cost of per episode of Acolyte right here, this was a Reddit post from 9 months ago. Apparently, the Acolyte was reporting the episode budgets were twice as big as Kenobi's. And Kenobi wasn't a good show, but I think they stretched that dollar very well. I think this show realistically could have come in closer to probably that 15 to $20 million mark per episode, or $15 to $10 million mark per episode. I think that would have, on season 1 and 2, would have helped and been able to make it more sustainable.
Yeah.
I just don't. We also don't know whatever deals they made with all these bigger actor names that they had in it.